Ladies and gentlemen, you can't step into new relationships with an old attitude. Sometimes the reason we keep experiencing the same disappointments, the same arguments, the same distance in our relationships is not because people aren't good, but because our attitude hasn't changed. If you keep carrying bitterness, unforgiveness, or a negative outlook, it doesn't matter how wonderful the person is, you'll never experience the fullness of the relationship. But here's the good news. You have the power to refresh your attitude. When you choose kindness over criticism, patience over irritation, hope over suspicion, that fresh attitude becomes a magnet for fresh, healthy, and uplifting connections. Suddenly, people are drawn to your peace, your joy, your encouragement. Think of it this way. You can't pour fresh water into a container that's still filled with dirt. In the same way, your heart has to be cleansed of grudges, doubts, and negativity before it can hold love, trust, and harmony. Some of you are believing for new friendships, stronger marriages, restored family bonds, but the key isn't waiting for someone else to change. The key is allowing yourself to change first. When you bring a fresh attitude, you're not just changing how you see others. You're changing the entire atmosphere of your relationships. Old attitudes block new connections. You cannot expect healthy, uplifting relationships if you keep carrying bitterness, negativity, or unforgiveness from the past. Many times, we pray for new friendships, better understanding in our families, or peace in our marriages, but we forget that what holds us back is not the lack of good people, it's the old attitude we keep carrying. You can't step into a new chapter of your life with the same bitterness, resentment, or disappointment that weighed you down in the last one. Old attitudes are like heavy luggage. If you drag them into every new relationship, sooner or later they will wear you down and wear the other person out. That's why you may find yourself facing the same arguments, the same misunderstandings, or the same feelings of loneliness over and over again. It's not always that others are failing you. It may be that your heart is still carrying the hurts of yesterday. Imagine planting fresh seeds in hard, dry soil. No matter how much water or sunlight you give them, they won't grow until the ground is softened. In the same way, new relationships can't flourish in a hardened heart. If you keep expecting people to let you down because someone in your past betrayed you, you'll never give trust a chance. If you keep speaking harsh words because you were once spoken to harshly, you'll never experience gentleness in return. Old attitudes become invisible walls that block the love and peace you are longing for. But the good news is, you don't have to stay that way. You have the power to release the past, to lay down old attitudes, and to choose a fresh perspective. When you let go of yesterday's disappointments and decide to step into today with a new spirit, you open the door for God to bring people into your life who will value, uplift, and walk with you into your best days. A fresh attitude attracts fresh people. Choosing kindness, patience, and hope makes you a magnet for new, positive, and life-giving relationships. A fresh attitude has a way of drawing people to you. When you walk into a room carrying joy, peace, and kindness, others can feel it. Your attitude is like a fragrance. It goes before you and sets the tone for how people respond. If you're always negative, critical, or suspicious, that too becomes evident and it pushes people away. But when you choose to see the good, when you speak encouragement instead of criticism, when you give patience instead of irritation, people are naturally drawn to that spirit. A fresh attitude doesn't just change you, it changes the atmosphere around you. Think about how refreshing it feels to be around someone who believes in you, who sees the best in you, and who refuses to dwell on what's wrong. That kind of presence is magnetic. We all want to be close to people who lift us up, not people who tear us down. The same principle works in your own life. When you shift your perspective from complaining to gratitude, from doubt to hope, you become a source of light that attracts stronger, healthier, and more loving connections. Sometimes we think we need new people in our lives to make us feel fulfilled. But often what we need is a new attitude to nurture the people already around us. Friendships grow stronger, marriages become deeper, and families become closer when we choose to bring a spirit of patience, joy, and encouragement. People are not searching for perfection. They are searching for kindness, for authenticity, for hope. When you carry that within you, you become the kind of person others want to be connected to. A fresh attitude is like opening the windows of your life. It lets fresh air in, and it invites the right people to come closer. Clean the container first, just like you can't pour clean water into a dirty vessel. Your heart must release grudges, doubts, and negativity before it can hold love, trust, and harmony. Just as you wouldn't pour clean water into a container filled with dirt, you can't expect new, healthy relationships to thrive in a heart still cluttered with grudges, anger, or suspicion. If the vessel isn't clean, even the purest water will become contaminated. In the same way, even the most loving person in your life can't bring peace and harmony if your heart is still holding on to the residue of the past. That's why forgiveness and letting go are so vital. Until you empty out the bitterness, there's no room for joy. Until you release the hurt, there's no space for trust to grow. Many people wonder why they keep facing the same frustrations in different relationships, never realizing that the issue isn't with others, but with what they're still carrying inside. You may change friends, jobs, or even cities, but if you don't change what's within you, you'll see the same patterns repeat themselves. The container must be cleansed before it can hold something fresh. When you let go of resentment, when you choose to forgive even when it's hard, you're cleaning the vessel of your heart. You're preparing yourself for better relationships, healthier communication, and deeper bonds. It doesn't mean what happened to you was right. It means you're not allowing the dirt of the past to pollute your future. A clean heart is able to receive love, to give trust, and to experience harmony. Think of it as starting over with a fresh canvas. When the old stains are washed away, God can begin painting new colors, new joy, and new blessings across your life. By keeping your container clean, you position yourself for the pure, refreshing, and life, giving relationships you've been longing for. Change starts within you. Stronger friendships, restored families, and joyful marriages begin not when others change, but when you refresh your own outlook. So often, we wait for others to change before we decide to give our best. We think if my friend would just be more supportive, I'd be more loving. Or if my spouse would treat me better, I'd be more patient. But true transformation in relationships doesn't begin with someone else, it begins with us. When you decide to refresh your own outlook, you set the stage for everything around you to shift. Change starts within you, not outside of you. You may not be able to control how others act, but you can always control your response. If someone is short-tempered, you can choose patience. If someone is critical, you can choose encouragement. Your fresh attitude has the power to break cycles of negativity. Imagine two people constantly waiting for the other to change. Nothing will ever improve. But the moment one person decides to respond differently, the dynamic begins to heal. It's easy to blame others for the state of a relationship, but when you take responsibility for your own heart, something powerful happens. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. You stop waiting for love and begin giving love. And what you sow will eventually come back to you. A patient spirit invites patience in return. A joyful spirit stirs up joy in others, and a hopeful spirit inspires hope in those around you. The truth is, you hold more influence over your relationships than you realize. When you choose a fresh perspective, you shift the atmosphere, and others often rise to meet that standard. Instead of waiting for someone else to change first, decide today to be the one who brings a new attitude. As you do, you'll see friendships restored, families strengthened, and love flourish where there was once distance. Fresh attitude creates fresh atmosphere. A renewed spirit doesn't just shift how you see others, it changes the entire environment of your relationships, leading to deeper joy and fulfillment. A fresh attitude doesn't just affect the way you see others, it changes the entire atmosphere of your relationships. When you walk into a room carrying peace, that peace spreads. When you bring joy, it lifts the heaviness off the people around you. Your outlook is powerful because it sets the tone. If you approach your relationships with frustration, suspicion, or negativity, it creates tension. But when you come with a heart full of hope, patience, and encouragement, it opens the door for harmony and deeper connection. The atmosphere of a home, a friendship, or even a workplace can shift completely when just one person chooses a better attitude. Think about how it feels to be around someone who constantly complains or criticizes. It drains your energy, makes you guarded, and leaves you discouraged. Now think about the opposite being with someone who speaks life, who smiles easily, who believes the best in you. That environment inspires you to relax, to open up, and to give your best. The difference isn't in the circumstances, it's in the attitude that's being brought into the relationship. When you choose to refresh your perspective, you bring a spirit of possibility instead of limitation. You see potential where others see problems. You create warmth where there was distance. Relationships thrive in an atmosphere of love and trust, and you have the ability to cultivate that every day with your words, your patience, and your outlook. The truth is, a fresh attitude is contagious. When you live with a renewed spirit, people around you begin to rise to that same level. They feel inspired to be kinder, more hopeful, and more joyful. And over time, that shift creates stronger bonds, deeper love, and lasting fulfillment in your relationships.